press the gas, the throttle wire pulls these levers which open these blinders. Right? Right?
It's like the truck's a wheelchair for it.
No. It's like it is an engine for my truck. What?
You see that?
Quiet on the set!
This is Michael Faulkner, and it is showtime at the January 10th, 2017 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you on the Chronic Riff Network. This week's birthdays begin with scientist Stephen Hawking. They continue with Amber Benson, Tara from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the best J. Jonah Jameson ever, J.K. Simmons, Imelda Staunton, the delightfully evil Dolores Umbridge from the Harry Potter franchise, Kirstie Alley, the first Lieutenant Saavik from the classic Star Trek films, Liam Hemsworth, Gale Hawthorne from the Hunger Games series, Orlando Bloom, Legolas from the Lord of the Rings films, and Grant Gustin, the fastest man alive as Barry Allen on The Flash. Starting with the box office report, it was a really tight race for first place. At number 10 is Assassin's Creed, down 2 from 8th. At number 9 is Fences, down 3 from 6th. At 8th is Moana, down 4 from 4th. In 7th is Why Him, down 2 from 5th. And finishing off this week's bottom 5 is Passengers, down 3 from 3rd. The top 5 this week begin with La La Land, up 2 from 7th with $10.1 million, add to a total of $51.8 million. In 4th place is new release Underworld Blood Wars, premiering to $13.7 million. This is the lowest opening for any film in the Underworld franchise, coming in $7 million below the previous low, Underworld Rise of the Lycans, and nearly half of Underworld Evolution, the second title in the series. The weekend's Winter Storm took a sizable chunk out of the attendance numbers, and the film scored a B+ cinema score with those who could make it to the theater, so this one may hang around for just a while longer. Critics offered up a 20% approval, which is about average for the franchise. In 3rd place is Sing, down 1 from 2nd with $20.7 million, added to a total of $214.5 million. In 2nd is last week's winner, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, earning $22.1 million for a total of $477.4 million. And that means that squeaking into first this week is Hidden Figures, entering wide release with a 16-position jump and $22.8 million for a total of $25.6 million. Beating out Star Wars by only $700,000, part of the stellar performance is being attributed to the winter storms that slammed moviegoers in New York, Philadelphia, Washington, Virginia, and parts of the Deep South. But the other part, and honestly the most important part, is the film itself. Audiences gave this one an A+ cinema score, and critics gave it a 93% approval. Opening day audiences, those that could actually make it out, were 64% female and 56% under the age of 35. As more people get out to see Hidden Figures, it's going to be really interesting to see how both this film and Rogue One hold up over the next couple of weeks. Let's close out the box office report with a look at what was winning in years gone by. 5 years ago in 2012, Contraband took number 1 with $24.3 million. 10 years ago in 2007, Stomp the Yard won the weekend with $21.8 million. 20 years ago in 1997, The Relic was the winner with $9.1 million. 30 years ago, in 1987, The Golden Child took the title for a fifth and final week with $4.5 million. And 40 years ago, in 1977, The Enforcer took the box office crown for a second week with $4.8 million. The box office premieres for January 13th begin on Friday, where you can buy a whole seat, but you only need the edge. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. This week's headliner is Monster Trucks, an animated action comedy starring Lucas Till, Jane Levy, and Thomas Lennon.
Watch this.
We're driving on a roof.
Get out of our way, pigeons!
Looking for any way to get away from the life and town he was born into, Trip, a high school senior, builds a monster truck from bits and pieces of scrap cars. After an accident at a nearby oil drilling site displaces a strange and subterranean creature with a taste and talent for speed, Trip may have just found the key to getting out of town and a most unlikely friend. Monster Trucks is rated PG. The second title is The Bye-Bye Man, a horror thriller starring Douglas Smith, Lucien Leviscont, and Cressida Bonas.
Don't say his name. Don't think it. He'll find you. He'll control you. He'll make you do awful things. And he won't stop. Until you're dead.
Who? The Bye-Bye Man?
Bye-Bye Man.
Three friends stumble onto the horrific origins of the Bye-Bye Man, a mysterious figure they discover is the root cause of the evil behind man's most unspeakable acts. The Bye-Bye Man is rated PG-13. The third title is Patriots Day, a historical drama starring Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Monaghan, and J.K. Simmons.
Those are not our guys. Meanwhile, you guys aren't any closer to identifying the two we're really looking for. We need to release those pictures.
If we release the photos now, we have zero control.
If we overplay our hand, we may force these guys to react.
Gentlemen, if I may, right now, Boston's working against us. Yeah, that's normal. You got a murder, no one rats. We don't got that problem. Because in this city, when it comes to terrorism, everybody wants to talk. Look, you got a lot of people talking, but they're talking about the wrong people. You release the photos of our guys, sit back and listen, trust me. You gotta start letting Boston work for us, I'm telling you.
I understand, Boston, but I can't just snap my fingers. This decision goes all the way up to the Attorney General.
Then give me his number. I'll call him right now. This is my city, Rick. Release the goddamn pictures.
This is an account of Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis's actions in the events leading up to the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing and the aftermath, which includes the citywide manhunt to find the terrorists behind it. Patriots Day is rated R. Number 4 on the list is Sleepless, a crime thriller starring Jamie Foxx, Michelle Monaghan, and Dermot Mulroney.
This is Downs Homicide.
Jennifer Bryant. That's my partner, Doug Dennison. We're internal affairs.
Okay, so that's all you got, huh? Government issue?
This one's got an employee ID from the Luxus Casino. The big guy, he's a special snowflake. Arrest records going back 12 years.
Empty face.
Why don't you take a closer look?
You know, it's just everybody's been talking about your situation.
Talk of the town. What happened to your face?
Nothing happened to my face. This is a face that pays attention to details.
Speaking of details, I thought Emerson and Flanagan were assigned to this case.
Maybe you shouldn't think, Brian. Me and my partner got the call.
We did.
Anyway, I was just looking out for a fellow officer.
You should put some ice on that.
Yeah. I'll get some for you, too.
A cop with a connection to the criminal underworld scours a nightclub in search of his kidnapped son. Sleepless is rated R. And the fifth title is Live by Night, a crime drama starring Ben Affleck, Elle Fanning, and Brendan Gleeson.
I need ID, Chief.
I expect you'd feel that way.
You know what happens if you don't help me?
No, I don't.
More bodies are gonna pile up. More articles like Cigar City Slaughter are gonna get written. And the Chief's gonna get pushed out.
You too.
Maybe.
Difference is, when you get pushed out, someone does it with a bullet to the back of your ear.
This is a story set in the Prohibition era and centered around a group of individuals and their dealings in the world of organized crime. Live by Night is rated R. And just in case those 5 wide releases don't tickle your fancy, there are also 3 titles on the limited slate, and you can find those in the show notes. Next up is a look at the home entertainment slate for the week of January 10th, and I'll begin with new releases on DVD and Blu-ray, and that list begins with Max Steel, an action-adventure movie starring Ben Winchell, Josh Branner, and Maria Bello. These are the adventures of teenager Max McGrath and his alien companion, Steel, who must harness and combine their tremendous new powers to evolve into the turbocharged superhero, Max Steel. Max Steel is rated PG-13. Number 2 on the list is Deepwater Horizon, a drama starring Mark Wahlberg, Kurt Russell, and John Malkovich. Based on the true events that occurred on an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico on April 20th, 2010, the story chronicles the courage of those who worked on the Deepwater Horizon and the extreme moments of bravery and survival in the face of what would become one of the biggest man-made disasters in world history. Deepwater Horizon is rated PG-13. Number 3 on the list is The Birth of a Nation, a drama starring Nate Parker, Armie Hammer, and Jackie Earle Haley. Nat Turner, a former slave in America, leads a liberation movement in 1831 to free African Americans in Virginia that results in a violent retaliation from whites. The Birth of a Nation is rated R. Number 4 on the list is The Accountant, an action drama starring Ben Affleck, Anna Kendrick, and J.K. Simmons. As a math savant uncooks the books for a new client, the Treasury Department closes in on his activities, and the body count starts to rise. The Accountant is rated R. And the final title is Kevin Hart, What Now? A comedy documentary starring Kevin Hart, Dennis Kiefer, and Halle Berry. Comedian Kevin Hart performs in front of a crowd of 50,000 people at Philadelphia's outdoor venue, Lincoln Financial Field. Kevin Hart, What Now? Is rated R. Swinging my new releases on digital video, I have 2 titles there. The first is Ouija, Origin of Evil, a horror thriller starring Elizabeth Reeser, Doug Jones, and Henry Thomas. In 1965 Los Angeles, a widowed mother and her 2 daughters add a new stunt to bolster their seance scam business and unwittingly invite authentic evil into their home. When the youngest daughter is overtaken by a merciless spirit, the family confronts unthinkable fears to save her and send her possessor back to the other side. Ouija, Origin of Evil is rated PG-13. The other title is Keeping Up with the Joneses, a comedy starring John Hamm, Isla Fisher, and Zach Galifianakis. A suburban couple becomes suspicious of their new hot neighbors. Keeping Up with the Joneses is rated PG-13. Moving right along to TV on DVD and Blu-ray, we start things there with Homeland, Season 5 from 2015, starring Claire Danes, Mandy Patinkin, and Rupert Friend. Now working at a private security firm in Berlin, Carrie is trying to start a new life, but she soon discovers that she can't escape her past. Blindsided by stunning betrayals, and without Saul and Quinn to rely on, Carrie must uncover a deadly conspiracy that puts thousands of lives at risk, including her own. The second TV title this week is Mr. Robot, Season 2 from 2016, starring Rami Malek, Christian Slater, and Carly Chaikin. Winner of the Golden Globe for Best TV Drama, Mr. Robot follows Elliot Alderson, a young cybersecurity engineer who becomes involved in the underground hacker group F Society after being recruited by the mysterious leader. Following the events of F Society's 5/9 hack on multinational company Evil Corp, the second season explores the consequences of that attack, as well as the illusion of control. The final TV title this week is Star Trek Enterprise, the complete series, spanning 2001 to 2005 and starring Scott Bakula, John Billingsley, and Jolene Blaylock. Set in the 22nd century, 100 years before James T. Kirk helmed the famous starship of the same name, Enterprise takes place in an era when interstellar travel is still in its infancy. Captain Jonathan Archer has assembled a crew of brave explorers to chart the galaxy on a revolutionary spacecraft, Enterprise NX-01. As the first human beings to venture into deep space, these pioneers will experience the wonder and mystery of the final frontier as they seek out new life and new civilizations. Now here's the thing. You can buy this complete series pack or the individual season sets this week, but they're only on DVD. If you want the adventures of Archer's Enterprise in high definition, check back here around February 14th. I'll wrap up the home entertainment slate with Blu-rays from the past, and this week I bring you one title, and that's Battleground, a war drama from 1949 starring Van Johnson, John Hodiak, and Ricardo Montalban. A squad of the 101st Airborne Division copes with being trapped in the besieged city of Bastogne during the Battle of the Bulge. Battleground is not rated. After this brief break for about a shameless podcast cross-promotion, the Weekly Podioplex will continue.
Attention, attention, it's finally here, the first and only podcast dedicated to one of the most groundbreaking television series in history, MASH. Join the hosts of MASH 4077 podcast, Kenny, Meds, and Al, as they discuss their thoughts episode by episode. They will also share with you some little-known behind-the-scenes information, trivia, and so much more. Find them on iTunes by searching MASH 4077 podcast or online at www.mash4077.podbean.com.
And welcome back to the Weekly Podioplex. I'm Denise with your Quick Flicks. Now, because this is still the holidays and the news is either A, crappy, or B, non-existent, I'm going to bring you my very spoiler-free review of Sing. Before I get started, however, let it be known that Debbie Reynolds, mother to Carrie Fisher, will be desperately missed. And even though she passed one day after her daughter's death, I bring it up now because she was the first woman I really connected to in a musical, and because Sing is a musical. Singin' in the Rain is one of my favorite movies, and for the life of me, I wanted to be Debbie Reynolds. I wanted to dance like her, to sing like her, and to land Don Lockwood like she did. Now, I sing and I dance, but both of them are best left to remain unseen by human eyes, lest the sight burns holes into faces of innocent bystanders. But Debbie Reynolds still holds a special place in my heart. Not to mention she was the best part of that damn Halloween Town movie. To Debbie Reynolds, we here at the Weekly Podioplex say, we love you, we miss you, and thank you. We hope the rain is falling so you and the boys can sing in it once again. Now, on to Sing. Alright, check it out. I thought this movie was going to be absolutely terrible. No, I really did. My mom watches American Idol, The Voice, and all the other shows featuring questionable singing talent as the main driver of views. She also watched Glee, so going into this movie with that background of trying to avoid all of these things, I was expecting an amalgam of everything I hate about Mom's Hulu watch list. I have never been so happy to be so wrong in my life. Instead of some sappy, cringe-worthy story about how all a character ever wanted to do was sing, but because of questionable life choices and terrible coincidental circumstances, has this one chance to prove that he or she is a singer, and now through a series of half-comedic, half-tragic missteps and twists of fate, the stars will finally align properly and the character will win the competition. Yay! Because once they won, all of their dreams will come true, because truly fame and fortune is the only way to be happy in this day and age. Sing was not that story. Sing is set in a world like our own, but entirely inhabited by animals. Sing stars Buster Moon, a dapper koala who presides over a once grand theater that has fallen on hard times. Buster is an internal optimist and maybe a bit of a scoundrel who loves his theater above all and will do anything to preserve it. Now facing the crumbling of his life's ambition, he has one final chance to restore his fading jewel to his former glory by producing the world's greatest singing competition. Alright, so to be fair, the movie was an amalgam of backstories, tragic and otherwise, but not in the shove it in your face to get sympathy and force a connection to a contestant sort of way. Sing told the story of characters who just happened to be good at singing, who signed up for a competition because of a desperate business owner looking to bring his theater back from the brink, an open window, and the typos of a lizard with a glass eye, and not enough sense to turn off the fan before she takes a huge stack of papers from the printer. Secretaries everywhere take note. What follows is a truly heartwarming tale of sacrifice and how far someone is willing to go to achieve their dreams. Let me tell you guys, freaking Taron Egerton, the guy who plays Eggsy in Kingsman, he can sing! Holy sweet freaking cow, I didn't even believe it was him! The man has a voice and the movie is worth it just to hear him sing Elton John's I'm Still Standing as Johnny the gorilla who just wants to be himself and earn his father's love and respect in the process. And Gunter. Guys, Gunter the pig is the best thing ever. Also, Seth MacFarlane plays Mike the Mouse, and I don't know if you've ever heard MacFarlane sing, but Frank Sinatra would be proud. The movie has so much more to give than what I'm highlighting here. It's one of those that you have to go see to believe it, and really, you will be entertained. The kids, too. The movie isn't a typical rise to fame story, and in this day and age of everybody and their grandmother wanting to be on a reality television show and thus become a star, that the movie deviates from this is a blessing and a half. On the whole, Sing gets an 8.5 from me, or rather, it gets a 4.5 out of 5 stars, if you remember my rating system from Moana's review. Sing is worth seeing in the theaters and owning on your shelves. And that's it for this week's Quick Flicks. I'll see you guys next time on the Weekly Podioplex.
Thank you, Denise. And that brings us to the end of this week's edition of the Weekly Podioplex. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to our brand new homepage at chronicrift.com and leave an audio message right there on the website using your microphone, or you can write to weeklypodioplex@gmail.com. Of course, you can still tweet us on Twitter. The Chronic Rift is chronic_rift. The Weekly Podioplex is Weekly Podioplex. Denise is Riley James Keith. And I am Womprat99, like the creature Luke with Bullseye in his T-16 in Beggar's Canyon. You can give the Chronic Rift a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and you can find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook and Google+. Take a moment, stop on by, and see what other shows the Chronic Rift Network has to offer. We have Cyborgs, a Bionic podcast, the Batcave podcast, the OSI Files podcast, the G2V podcast, Doctor Who and Mr. Drew, Generations Geek, presenting the transcription feature, the Dan and Travis Show, the Sci-Fi Diner podcast, and so much more. Check us out and find the culture in pop culture. If you're interested in more of my adventures, take a quick trip to my blog, Creative Criticality, where I'm watching every episode of Doctor Who for the first time from the very beginning of the franchise and reviewing those tales in the Timestamps Project. Right now, the blog is still kicking off the 16th season, with the adventures of the Fourth Doctor and the Time Lady Romana as they hunt for the key to time. And the link to those reviews can be found in the show notes. You can also find Creative Criticality on Facebook. Denise can also be found on the internet at Accessories Not Included, where she talks about her writing, reviews books, and offers her services as a cover designer. Check her out at accessoriesnotincluded.com. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make at that store supports the Chronic Rift Network. Your support keeps us on the air, and we appreciate your consideration. Look for the links to our best bets in the network store in our show notes, or click the Amazon box on the website. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. On behalf of Denise and John, this is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. Until next time, there are adventures and drama, comedy and action, worlds to explore in the depths of film. Get some popcorn, find your favorite seat, and I'll see you at the theater.